How do you keep your content website alive from 2024 and beyond with all these Google changes, and how to turn this content website into something special that lasts the distance? Hi, I'm Jaryd Krause. I'm the host of the Buying Online Business podcast, and today I'm speaking with Mads Singers, who is a people management coach and owner of Mads Singers Management Consulting. He has been a management coach for more than 12 years now, and he's worked with large companies like IBM, Xerox, Shell, Coca-Cola. And Mads' primary goal is to achieve effective people management, and he believes in companies having a core strength that lies in empowered team players. He also owns 6 of his own companies, one being an SEO company that acquires content sites and media businesses. And Mads and I have a fascinating chat on how to grow your content website out of this Google update from March 2024. We still talk about how you should be thinking about your content website, which is what I call a media business now, and how you should be thinking about it as a whole moving forwards without single source dependency, and what a brand looks like. We talk about why Google loves brands and e-commerce businesses. We also talk about the companies that Mads owns and runs. And then we move into talking about acquiring companies to grow and how larger businesses and brands do this, and how Mads has a friend who also does this with his e-commerce business. I talk about the opportunity for growth by acquiring content sites or media businesses, and how to build out a holding company basically of micro online businesses that can allow you to weather the storm from just single source dependency on maybe Google traffic or pay-per-click traffic or Amazon or another source or YouTube or whatever it is. So thinking about business more holistically now versus just buying one smaller business and having it try to weather all the storms when it can be very reliant on one revenue or traffic source. Now, there's so much value in this podcast episode. I'm sure you're going to absolutely love it. I do talk about buying businesses here. And so if you haven't got my due diligence framework on how to save hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars on acquiring the right business, it's what I use and what my clients use. Make sure you go away and get it. It's saved us millions of dollars and made us millions of dollars. So you can get that at buyingonlinebusiness.com/free resources. Now let's dive into the pod. Have you been lied to about how to increase organic traffic and grow your website? I too used to think that all you needed to do is add more content and gain backlinks. But this just doesn't work. More content and more links alone is not the answer. Nor do you need to butcher your website with generic SEO changes you picked up on some crummy online tutorial, leaving with a Frankenstein website that's slow and clunky. And because I got sick of seeing great people with great websites struggle to grow them, I decided to do something about it. I created an SEO service, which is not just about publishing content and getting links. Sure, we offer that. But first, we give you quick wins, which are SEO tweaks we can make to your website that actually boost your rankings. And then we lay out a killer SEO strategy to acquire more traffic and revenue that outranks your competitors with less content and less links. We've thoroughly tested this service on many websites before launching it and have achieved incredible results, which you'll see on our landing page I'm about to share with you. Now you can finally buy a business and give it to us to grow it for you. To check out our SEO service, head to buyingonlinebusinesses.com/SEO-services and book a call to chat with us to see what is the best growth strategy for you and your website. That's buyingonlinebusinesses.com/SEO-services, and the link will be in the description too. Mads, welcome back to the Buying Online Businesses podcast. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Jaryd. It's a pleasure to be back.
Yeah, man. I was episode 39, and we're up to episode 280 something now. So it's been 3 to 4-ish years. So it's definitely been some time. How have you been?
In other words, I'm a bit slow, I guess.
No, my fault for not getting in touch sooner. Your name popped up, and I was chatting with Alex Cooper, and he was talking about the affiliate gathering, and you chatted at the affiliate gathering. Congrats on that. What did you speak about at the affiliate gathering?
I was trying to give people a little bit of sort of feedback on how to look at all this online business a little bit different. One of my pet peeves has always been SEOs looking at SEOs as the thing, or
Mm.
as you know, they don't look at SEO as traffic or as a traffic source to a business. They look at SEO as the business, and I've always been a little bit uncomfortable with that because for me, SEO is a great traffic source. It's probably the traffic source where you can get the most in proportionate returns. Like when you're
Mm.
doing ads, you put in a bit of money in the slot machine and you get out a bunch of money, and that it's relatively consistent input output. Whereas with SEO, right, when you look through SEO, you can over time get some crazy returns from not so crazy investment. And that's how I've always looked at SEO. What I talked about specifically at the affiliate gathering was very much around um, helping people think more as a CEO, think more as, you know, as a focus on products, think more as a focus on like building out funnels. Because reality is, whatever way you acquire customers, when you do it with SEO, when you do it with PPC, like you have a core cost to acquire each person, right? Because you pay money or time for content, you pay money or time for links, etc. And over time, like every single customer you have, there's a value added to them, right? Or there's a value on them of how much you pay to acquire them. So the whole goal of business is really essentially about figuring out how can you make the most money for the customers that you've already acquired, right? So I
Yeah.
talked a lot about funnels and how to fundamentally utilize them to sell more to an existing audience. And I shared a
Mm.
bunch of examples. So one of the examples I'd seen a lot of people succeed with was around the courses and so on. Fundamentally, again, when you pay to acquire a customer, you get hold of their email or whatever. The question is, what do you sell? So when you're building out funnels, one of the big issues I see affiliates have is they keep just linking to other affiliate products. And what I said fundamentally is that the more you can own product, the more you can secure yourself in multiple ways. Because as an affiliate, if you start owning a product, it doesn't matter if it's a physical product or a soft product, if it's ebooks or courses or whatever. But when you start owning that, your business totally opens up, because what happens is you can start having other affiliates linked to you. So if
Mm.
you own, for example, a great course, like you can literally give other affiliates 100% commission to promote it. And what happens is when you start doing that, you effectively get your competitors linking to you. And
Mm-hmm.
if I learned one thing about SEO, it is that having your competitors linked to you is not a bad thing. Fundamentally, that's one of the sort of core mindsets behind it. Now, what we also talked a lot about is how to acquire these courses. So a lot of the time, particularly around affiliates, they're not necessarily experts at the niches that they have sites in, right? And that's
Right.
the same for our in-house team. Like we have built a lot of
Right.
sites in niches that we are not experts at. So what we started focusing on was like, how can we actually go out and find people who are good at this stuff? And initially, we started out looking for people on YouTube who had a little bit of traction, but they were not super successful, right? So we knew they were good on video. We
Mm.
knew they wanted to be an influencer. They wanted to make some money. And in the early days, what we did was we asked these guys we went with them. We did a bunch of research. We're like, okay, we want, let's say in gardening, we want a course on how to do raised garden beds. I don't even know what that is, but uh, yeah, that's the concept. We would then go out, find a relevant course. We would then, kind of see the structure of it and so on. And then we would go to one of these small influencers and said, hey, can we pay you 2 grand to build this course out? Like, you're an expert at this gardening stuff. I'm sure you could figure this out, right? We were happy to keep your name on it. So we would keep the person's name on it who built the course, right? Because what we were really interested in was authors that had some kind of legitimacy
Authority. Yeah.
rather than some random persona that we made up
Made
for
up.
the
Yeah.
site, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that worked. it did take a while. It wasn't always super effective. It wasn't always the best result, but generally, we got some results. In this
Yeah.
process, what we figured out was there was a ton of people on the likes of Udemy who had spent a massive amount of time putting courses together and not really utilizing them. In
Not
Udemy, the
really
beautiful
marketing
thing is
very well, were
you
they?
can
Yeah.
see how many reviews it have, you can see how many sales it have, and if someone built a course 2 years ago that have had 3 sales, so they made $5, they put a lot of time and effort into building it, most likely. We assumed they
Mm-hmm.
had some kind of idea what they were doing, but they were just poor at marketing it, particularly in competitive niches, right? So if there's
Mm-hmm.
500 courses on how to grow tomatoes, some of them will not sell. So what we did was
Yep.
we would go to some
Right.
of these people who have had courses on the platform for a long time, had not done any sales, and we would say, hey, can we buy the rights to this course? Like, again, we'll still keep your name on it, still totally yours. Sometimes some of the courses we bought, the people had an interest in having coaching afterwards or the likes. So we would keep their name on it. We'll give them those opportunities. But we fundamentally bought the right
Absolutely.
to the course. Again, sometimes it was $1,000, sometimes 2,000. I think we even paid 2,500 at some point. Most of the time, for most people, this was a bit of money they got for a product they never expected to see any more money out of, right? So
Yeah, I
we
love it.
we could make some really good deals. The benefit was when we did this, we could physically acquire products to put into our funnels that we owned 100% of, and that we could keep selling again and again and again. Like most of these products we sold somewhere between $20 to $50. So if you buy a course for, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
1,500, right? Like you don't need to make that many $50 sales to make it profitable.
Mm.
And what it also did was it turned it into a real business. Like we had real products on our site, and obviously from a Google standpoint, they like that sort of stuff. Um, so
They love
that
it. They
was
eat it up.
some of the things that we tested out that worked really well. But the essence of it really, and I think a lot of people sort of were drooling a lot on this course idea, but the essence of it was really the whole funnel piece, right? Like build out your email funnels, build out like your sort of email acquisitions and all of that stuff, right? Like that's really where it starts, because if you have an email list, like one of the guys we work with this have an email list of 40,000 people now, and every time it's Black Friday and they send out emails, like they make 10, 15 grand, right? Um, so you can
Right.
make
Yeah, exactly.
a lot of money from a list. And the most important, what I always tell people is when you have spent the time and the effort acquiring the customer, you have to figure out how to get more money out of it, right? Like that's the essential.
Yeah. I've been harping on about that for a long time, Mads, since I've been in this game. The first thing that I learned before even starting businesses, before I even acquired any businesses, is that you need to own a list and you need to have a list. And that has not, and I've been talking about this for people that will call them content sites. There's like the shift that needs to go on within people personally to take a content site to see it as a real business is probably the most fundamental step here to get past uh, a content site struggling for just ad revenue and affiliate revenue. We know that ad revenue, affiliate revenue is not what Google really wants to promote, or content that's just for ad revenue and affiliate revenue alone, without seeing a brand, a real brand, offer different products and services along the journey of a user of that website. For example, if somebody's trying to learn how to fish, having the 10 best fishing rods affiliate post and then also having ads on that and then having all content like that on just one website is Google's going to see that you're just trying to get traffic to a quick little sale to make a little bit of money, and you're actually not serving the person who is starting out fishing to go from not knowing anything about what fishing rod to buy, where to fish, how to tie a knot, lures, tackle, bait, all the way to becoming a professional fisher person, because you're just trying to make a quick grab of money and you're not really serving them all the way through. And that's where the the mindset of changing from I own a content website to I own a brand allows people to then have capacity and space. When you think about that, if you think about a high level, you own a brand, then you have space and capacity underneath that to go, okay, if I own a brand, what products and services can I sell? And if I have an email list already, I can sell it straight away. But then also, how do I take people from who just find out about phishing to go, I love this, I love this piece of content on how to tie a knot, and then I'm going to get on the email list. How do you get them on the email list? And then how do you take them from learning how to tie a knot to go through my course on how to buy a fishing rod for these types of fish to catch, right? Or how to fish for these types of specific fish with a course. I've got a client that I've been working with for over a year now that has been transitioning from only ad revenue and affiliate revenue and selling courses, and then and eventually we're going to turn that into a membership because he has quite a large email subscriber base, and he has gone and found industry experts. And what he talks about is a specific musical instrument. He talks about how to get better at playing this musical instrument, and we found specific experts in that industry that already have authority. And when you get those people that have authority in the space sell products and services and courses from your site, you don't even need to own the course, right? You could just sell it for them, get a commission. You could sell their services, get a commission, or you could just hire them, like you said you have Mads, is to just buy the course off them. Then you're building a real community, right? So when did you start experimenting with this, Mads? How long ago?
We've done this for quite a few years, probably 3-4 years or something like that. So we
Yeah.
we started 3-4 years ago. We started an in-house sort of SEO company is probably the best way to describe it. So basically, we were building our own sites, and we were scaling them up and eventually flipping them, right? So that was sort of our model, and yeah.
When I first talked to you, we're talking about management, and we're talking about virtual teams. You
Yep.
didn't have you didn't have an SEO agency then, did you? When did this come into fruition?
I don't think so. I mean, we've been starting quite a lot of business. So I have 6 companies now in total. So we still do, I mean, still my core time is still on building teams and so on. And it's the same
Mhm.
thing with this business, right? I mean, the time I've put into it have been absolutely minimal. But yeah, I don't actually remember exactly when we spoke. So I
Yeah.
don't remember if we had this in the cards already or not. But yeah.
So you've got 6 companies. What are your
Yeah.
6 companies?
So we have the management coaching at madsingers.com. We have Aristo Sourcing, which is a recruitment company where we hire a lot of remote staff, particularly in South Africa, which is
Hmm.
our number one favorite spot to hire. Very similar cost to Asia, but just more like Western mindset, Western time zone, and so on.
Hmm.
That's brilliant. We run the SEO Mastery Summit, which is obviously the best SEO conference in the world. I have a SaaS tool called heyramp.com, which is also about management and how to manage your people and so on. And then we have a job site in South Africa called virtualjobssa.com. And then we have the SEO company. We
Yeah.
did also have a content business for a while. Let's just say AI got the better of us. So
Yeah. Yeah. Like so many of us. So what about acquisitions? Have you grown by acquisition, or do you acquire? And you know,
some of
where
them.
are you at
So
with
the
that?
content business we actually bought, and that was probably right after I talked with you last time. So we had that a couple of years.
Right.
Did really well, scaled it up quite significantly, and then our tagline was cheap native English content, and let's just say that was perfect target for AI. So
Mhm.
that did not last too long after AI come out. We were looking obviously if it made sense to pivot, but we had about I don't know 80, 90 writers at the time full time. They just I mean they weren't the type of people who were gonna go from writing cheap native English content to writing high quality whatever. So we just decided to shut it down as the orders ran out and so on. Still a good business. Most of the other companies, let me just think. I think all the other companies are generally built from the bottom up. So the SaaS tool is a tool we're building ourselves. At the job site was we basically saw that it was impossible to hire in South Africa, and we're like, there is no good job site specifically for South Africa, so let's build it, and that's what we did.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, the other companies have been built from the scratch up. Obviously, in the SEO company, the sites we're acquiring often tend to be that they're all acquired, right? So we're buying content sites. So our math is very simple. If we know, like, let's say we build a site in the garden niche, if we build a really good funnel for that site, like we can go out and buy other sites that are just monetizing traffic with simple affiliate and sort of simple ads, and we can obviously build a very similar funnel or sometimes even copy paste a funnel onto it,
Mhm.
and that way instantly make it worth more, right?
And are you acquiring, say it's a site, a gardening in the gardening niche? Are you going to go out and acquire a gardening niche site and then plug it in, copy and paste it, basically change a little bit with the branding, or are you looking at buying any type of content site?
Yeah, I mean, we have sites in many different niches. So obviously, the benefit with buying sites in different niches is you find out what niches are very good. So therefore, we have I think two or three niches that we're kind of stuck with. Unfortunately, the content side have had a pretty heavy hit. Or there have been a lot of sites that we would usually look at and buy that no longer have any interest or any traffic, right?
Right.
So that's been a bit of a shame. Yeah, we have a couple of niches that are doing really good and that are really interesting for this stuff.
Yeah, excellent. And so, are you with this SEO company? Are you just acquiring smaller content sites for yourselves, or are you bringing on clients that are looking for SEO services as well?
We don't bring on clients, no, just
Right.
our own stuff. One of the things, most people sit around in agencies and they're like, I hate making these clients so much money and being paid so little. And what I tell them all is, why don't you do it on yourself then, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're not looking for clients at all. No.
Cool. And so, what are some of the other changes that you have made or are going to be making that you're going to start? Or let me rephrase that. I'll ask in one question and then ask more as we go along. What are some of the changes that you have made that have starting to see results with some since the Google update in March 2024 have started to sort of allow you to sort of see some results moving forwards?
Yeah, I think realistically, like a lot of our side were hit as well, right? Like Google have been very very keen on getting rid of content sites. I think fundamentally for us, we're like what I see is a lot of people giving up, and that always makes me excited because when people are giving up, that creates more space. That's really the angle I look at it from. We're consistently looking at different angles, different business model, different businesses, even the likes of e-commerce and so on, right? Where there's also a ton of e-commerce sites out there who sell very few products. Again, if they've acquired a list, many of them don't email often enough. They don't take good care of them, right? So yeah, we are generally very keen on yeah, good business in general. I mean, yeah.
Have you considered acquire instead of just acquiring content sites, have you considered acquiring e-commerce brands for growth, for acquisition for some of the content sites in the same niches that you have?
We definitely have. What I would say is that, and full disclosure, I have sold multiple e-commerce sites in the past. But fundamentally, e-commerce is a very, very different game. Battling it out with Amazon and so on, it's
Yes.
a very different game. Amazon, I mean, you might feel Google is tightening the screws on your fingernails. Amazon is definitely in the same business. So we haven't at this point acquired any larger sites. We have one or two small. It's mostly been people who sort of did their own product that we've sort of taken and put into some of our sites, but we haven't gone out and acquired any large scale e-commerce sites. for growth in that direction. Honestly, it's because the team that I have in place running this now, it's not their expertise. So
Yeah,
that's the core reason.
well, yeah, really good call. Especially with marketing, paid marketing moves so much faster than SEO. Uh, and it's funny to think that because sometimes people are coming into this space, typically in my realm, wanting to acquire a business, and initially they're leaning on content sites. Uh, I am now. I've always thought of them as businesses and media businesses, uh, and they are media businesses. Although I want to start to allow more people to see them as media businesses than just content sites, and have seen that these content sites or media businesses have grown by SEO and believe that it changes fast. Well, it's very different when it's ecom. Ecom, there's a lot of money in the space. Advertising rules change fast. Algorithms on the advertising platforms change very, very fast, and it's a bit more of a higher stakes game. Now,
It is what I would say on that point though is that I look at a little bit at content site like PPC. Like the thing is, if I go out and buy a content site that have 100,000 visitors a month, and I can acquire that for sometimes 5K, right?
mhm,
Now, if I poured 5K into PPC, I would not get 100,000 eyeballs a month, right?
mm,
Typically.
yeah,
So I I look at acquiring content sites uh like a bit of a game in a similar realm. So basically acquiring multiple content sites is a similar game to doing pay-per-click really,
absolutely,
because it's just like when you put it in that mindset, when you're saying, okay, I'm buying 100,000 traffic. I have a funnel I can put on top of this. I have a bunch of lead magnets I can put on this, so that I can harvest a lot of it. But reality is, if I just do that, if I just put some lead magnets on it, put a funnel on it, the site will still keep making at least the same amount of money. But I can maybe bring in eyeball to other products or other services I own and so on, right? And yeah,
absolutely. It's a very smart way to think about it, because this is what people that are doing with small 7-figure, 8-figure, and 9-figure businesses. I've started to help people acquire and build out holding companies where they have an e-commerce brand, and this is a suggestion that I open you guys up as listeners to think about as well. Is they have a primary business, a platform business. The first business they own is an e-commerce brand, and let's say it's in the fishing space, and let's say they have a marketing budget of $1 million a year. Now they can go and spend $1 million on Facebook ads and Google ads, so maybe 500K on each. But maybe they just say, let's put 250K into Facebook ads, 250K into Google ads, and let's spend our other 500K from our marketing budget to acquire content websites that already have an email list, already have an audience of organic traffic going to it. And I think it's a really good time for e-commerce brands to clean up right now, where they can go away and see these sites that have been hit and seen where they've stabilized out at, and acquire these assets or these content sites that have been hit but have a stable traffic, value the business or the media business, content site, whatever you want to call it, at that stabilization rate, and then go away and swoop in, allow that, build their audience off the back of that, and merge. And it's a really good time. Like, this is, like you said, it's a lot of people that are giving up, but it's, the people that think differently in the space and do business at a different level are just going to absolutely clean up. And that's my word of warning to everybody coming into the space, is like, start to think differently, and not give up, and treat it this like a long-term game, and you can really come out on top, can't you, Matt?
definitely.
What, for people that do have media businesses slash content sites, moving forwards, what are you guys doing in your SEO agency, and what are some of the things that you would be suggesting, other than just selling more physical or non-physical products on your site?
Yeah. Number one, we definitely start treating them way more like a brand. So we look a lot at, for example, building out knowledge panel for the sites. So someone like Jason Bernard is great at helping out with that, right? But getting a knowledge panel, you'll see very few, if any, sites that have a knowledge panel getting hit by these updates. because it's obviously a very strong signal to Google that this is a real brand, this is a real thing. So definitely building out knowledge panels, building out, putting more e-commerce features. We're thinking a lot about the structure of particularly the front page, right? I saw a very interesting talk by Cyrus Shepard about how the Google quality raters are going through things and so on, and realized that it was very, very easy to see the sort of typical content site setup where you have a lot of links to different posts and so on. Like it's very, very easy for Google to see those and understand those setup. We're changing a lot how the front pages look. Honestly, on many sites we now have like a shopping cart and make it look a bit like an e-commerce site on the outside. Anyway, on content sites, the front page doesn't matter that much because on content sites, people land on the landing pages. But definitely for Google, we want to make the sites look like a real business in one way or another on the initial landing page, right? So spending more time on EEAT, spending more time on getting experienced writers set up and connected to it. And yeah, just making it be a real brand. So not just look like, but creating real brands out of it, right? And then one of the things we've seen a lot is brand searches specifically is very important. And yeah, that's definitely something we look at. We had one site in particular that had very, very few to nearly nothing brand searches, and we ended up trying to do some creative PPC campaigns and doing a few other creative things to increase those brand searches. I probably can't share all of that because that's probably a little bit on the dodgy side of things. We definitely the brand searches are definitely something that we see being very valuable, and particularly if sites have very little brand searches to the brand name, like that's definitely an issue today.
Yeah, it's one thing to have a website which is like howtofish.com, and then having that brand be the how to fish brand. Um, is two massive different things when you've just got a content site that's just producing content for affiliate links and ad revenue on howtofish.com versus how to fish is a brand that helps people go from I don't know what fishing is to what sort of rod do I need, what sort of fish am I searching for, how do I tie knots, lures. And say if somebody does have a how to fish or a fishing website as an example, they can easily find the number one affiliate product that they're selling. It could be through Amazon, and go away and work out how can they own that product, how can they sell that product on their own store. And no, you don't need to go away and get it manufactured from China and still do all that sort of stuff. You could drop ship it. Literally, you could drop ship it, and that you would save yourself having to do the order fulfillment and all that sort of stuff. But you're actually selling this product that you own under your own brand, and you're drop shipping it. So yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that, Mads. It rings true with a bunch of other SEOs that I've had on talking about building a brand, building a real business, selling physical products and digital products, and actually helping people the whole way through their journey, not just let's just make a quick buck by slapping an affiliate link or some ads on a site.
What I would say I've seen as well, one of my very good friends have a site in the pet niche, and he basically been buying up content site and merging them into his e-commerce store, and he's getting
I
ridiculous
love it.
traffic. We're talking over 1 million organic traffic a month, right? So he have been doing that, and that's been exceptionally successful. But again, he had an e-commerce store that have a good brand, that have lots of good links and authority and so on, right? And just
Mm-hmm.
putting content on the back of that have been absolutely fuel.
Yeah, it goes back to that strategy I mentioned earlier that like larger brands do is they spend part of their budget on direct ads and then go away and acquire what we would call market share of the attention that's already being grabbed and caught and acquiring that market share that way. So Yeah, Mads, thanks so much for coming on. I'm looking forward to seeing where you're at in 2 years with this. I hope you end up acquiring a bunch more ecom brands and content sites and just build a good conglomerate and a holding company that, is it weathers all storms. And that's, I think, what people should be thinking about is how can they get not just the latest thing, or content sites are hot right now, or e-commerce site is hot right now, or I need to buy a SaaS or membership business. How do you build a business that has all of these elements that you're not super reliant on just organic traffic or super reliant on pay-per-click ads, or super reliant on Amazon? It's a
Relying on one
holistic approach, right?
platform is definitely difficult, right? Like when you're relying on one platform, it doesn't matter if that's Amazon or Google or YouTube or whatever. Being reliant on one platform is definitely both difficult and dangerous nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, you got a lot going on. 6 companies. Congrats on where
Yep.
you're at. How do we decipher where we should send people to find out more about you and what you're up to then? Like what sort of links should we be putting in this pod episode in the show
Yeah.
notes?
Mattsingers.com is a great starting point. But also I share a ton of content all the time, right? So Matt Singers on LinkedIn, Facebook, anything, always works. Still the only person in the world with the name, so easy to find me.
I love it, guys. I'll be linking to madsingers.com and Mads on LinkedIn. And again, Mads, thanks for coming on. Everybody is listening. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll speak to you guys soon.